Hello everybody, it's me, Scoop, and I just saw Air in theaters, and oh boy, this is a perfect movie. I'm just so glad that I went to see this movie, because between Air, Dungeons & Dragons, John Wick 4, Puss in Boots, Creed 3, and even Shazam! Fear of the Gods, you cowards, cinema is back on the menu for 2023, and I am so here for it. So, unsurprisingly, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck teaming up once again for a new dramedy was going to be a hit, and now that it's here, yeah, it's a banger, certified, 100% W movie. So, let's talk about it, with some minor spoilers, of course. Air is the story of Nike's basketball division, and how they signed Michael Jordan and created the Air Jordan brand. Set in the 80s, we follow the main team of Sonny Vaccaro, Rob Strasser, Howard White, shoe designer Peter Moore, and CEO and founder of Nike, Phil Knight. Matt Damon as Sonny serves as our protagonist, and as usual, is doing a phenomenal job in every single scene. He has this big speech by the end of the movie about immortality and legacy and industry disruption, and it just sends chills down your spine. Phenomenal scene. Overall, I just really love the tone that Air is going for, and it's not exactly a biopic, but it does still take the time to appreciate how important the scale of the story they're telling is. Sure, it's not turning the tide of some big war, but it's the fucking Air Jordan brand, man. Every single person in the world knows Air Jordan. When they introduce the logo, it almost feels like a superhero movie introducing a major comic book character, but done a lot more gracefully than a lot of recent Marvel movies, to be fair. It's just a really engaging, small-scale movie with a tight cast that you're gonna love. Air is also one of the funniest movies I've seen in a while. I only got like one serious big belly laugh out of me, but you're gonna be chuckling consistently the entire way through. Or if you're the woman sitting behind me in the theater, you are going to be cackling your ass off the entire time. Most characters serve as comic relief to Matt Damon's straight man. Rob Strasser, played by Jason Bateman, is doing the typical Jason Bateman thing where he is sort of a straight man, but his deadpan delivery makes you laugh, so that's always good. Ben Affleck as Phil Knight is the nature-loving meditation guru comic relief character. Peter Moore is the artsy visionary comic relief character, and so on with every character. They all have a shtick, except for Matt Damon and Viola Davis, who are really the main dramatic forces in this movie, but all of them work super well, and you're gonna love pretty much every character on screen. Air also just overall has really great pacing. At a tight hour and 50 minutes, you're really gonna be into the movie the whole time. I wanted to refill my soda halfway through, and it was really difficult to find a scene where I could break away and go run and fill it up. I did eventually go do that, if you were curious, but it was very difficult to pull away from the movie. Really, my only problem with the pacing isn't even with the pacing, it's just the fact that they use the same transition like 6 or 7 times, where they just have to get you between scenes, so they just do drone footage of the Nike building and play a banging 80s song over it. It works because the soundtrack in this movie is doing God's work, but it gets a little bit repetitive and sort of takes you out of the movie when you see it for like the 4th time. Like I said, the movie in its execution is actually pretty small scale, so you're basically just going to be following Sonny around for about 4 or 5 days as he tries to land Michael Jordan as a last-ditch effort to save Nike's basketball division. My only real complaint about this movie is how they actually handle Michael Jordan as a character. So they didn't technically cast an actor for Michael Jordan, they have a body double, I guess you could call him, because they felt like no one could properly capture Michael's essence, which is fair enough. But by the end of the movie, when they're doing the final pitch to really sell Michael on Nike, it's a little bit distracting how hard they have to try to hide his face and the fact that he basically doesn't speak. I think it really would have elevated the movie if they just finally revealed him in that scene, because sure, a couple of times before when he's around, it's a bit cute and he's not really the focus of the scene, so it's okay. But here, it was just plain distracting and a little bit odd. As it stands, Michael Jordan kind of feels like a prop in this movie, which when you find out what Nike's final pitch to him ends up being, it just feels a little bit odd, like he definitely should have had a lot more agency in the story. This definitely does not ruin the movie, but it's the biggest thing holding it back from being a literal 10 out of 10. So overall, I know this review was pretty brief, but I honestly don't have too much to say. Air doesn't really push any filmmaking boundaries or do anything you haven't seen before, but a lot like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Oh my god, that took like 10 tries. I can't say the name of that movie. It's just a really solid film all around from start to finish. It's gonna grab your attention and hold on tight for all 110 minutes. I'm sure you're gonna love it. You 100% should go see it. 9 out of 10, just a really solid piece of cinema all around. So anyway, guys, that's all for me today. As usual, like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed. That actually helps out saying that in videos, which I didn't realize until recently, but I'm enjoying getting a little bit more interaction on the videos, so that's always lovely. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, have a good night. Keep it crispy.